1966, the first year of the 10-cent coin. That's what we've got on the edge of the roll today, and there's a couple of different variations of that actually exist. So what we're going to do today is take a bit of a look at this roll and see what we can get out of it. Let's check it out. Do a bit of a focus up here. So from our 66 here that's on the end, there's a couple of different variations, as I mentioned. There's something that's called a 4-spike or a 3-spike lyrebird. So what we're looking for here is the amount of spikes that are on the end of the tail here. We've got a 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a 4-spike one. So unfortunately that is not the one we are after, which is a bit of a bugger. That's fine, and a bit of a look at that in general. There's nothing else we can really see there. That's our first one to head back on into the pool. So the things we're looking for on these 10s is little blobs here, little blobs here and here and here, and any problems with the rims, like a double pressing of the rim, and also problems with a rotation as well. So for our 74 there, that's a circulation of 64 million. Not really too much to report there. That 78 has a circulation of 25 million. There's not a lot we can really see in terms of general errors there, poking their head out. This one here is in pretty rotten condition. It's an 82, there's 180 odd million of those. There's tons of them around. Nothing we're really interested in. 147 million and change of those. Nothing we can really see on the Queen's head there. A little bit of damage on the outside, just there. Possibly something in there as well, but it might just be dirt. Not really sure. We'll put that one aside to have a bit of a look at it later on, because it could be a little bit of a blob on the feathers there. 08. Now this one has a circulation of 200 million. This is the one that can have the blobs on the feathers as well. We've got nothing there that we can see, obviously. 194 million of those. Not a lot that's sort of blatantly obvious at the outset there. 67 million of the 68s. There's quite a few of them about. Nothing really in terms of rotation there we can see, and nothing in terms of any blobs or anything like that. You can go back into the pool. 66 once again. Oh, looks like we've got a little bit of a rim error here. You can see just kind of running along there, so that's quite interesting. So being that we've already got another one aside to have a look at later on, we'll put that 66 aside and we'll take a look at the rim error. It might be one we keep just for that. Our 13 there's got a circulation of 49 million. Got nothing listed on that, and nothing we can see outright. Nope, nothing there. We tend to not have much luck on these 10s, unfortunately. And this one here, 2010, has a circulation of 104 million. We've got no listed errors for that. And once again, another 10. Nothing we can see overtly obvious there. And once again, a 49 million circulation on that 13, which is in pretty good condition. There's no errors on it. Alright, 1999, and what we can have with this is when we look at the Queen's head, we can have the numbers and the letters pushed right out towards the rim, which doesn't look to be obviously happening here. If we compare it to another similar coin. Say 2000 there. If anything, that 2000 looks further out, which is quite ironic, considering that error occurs on a 1999, not a 2000. And we've actually had this happen last time we looked closely at this detail as well on a 10-cent coin. It looked like we had the large queen's head on the 2000 and not the 1999, which it looks like we've sort of got again here. It looks like a large queen's head. So the 1999 can go aside, but that 2000 we'll put aside to have a bit of a look at closer up, I think, possibly, because it does look a little bit further out. So not apples for apples comparing it with a later date. And taking a bit of a look there, up against one of the other coins. That's an 09. Yeah, you can see that 2000 there does look like a large queen's head, which is interesting, considering it happens on the 1999s. So that 09 had a circulation of 35 million. I've got no listed errors for that, and I can't see anything here, and we'll put that 2000 aside because it looks like a large queen's head one. But we'll have to double check on that. 15 there had a circulation of 14 million. Even if there were any errors on that, I don't think it would be salvageable or worth taking a look at because it's in garbage condition. So the 81 Lyrebird there, there's two different versions of that, but both had really large circulations, so unless there's an error on it, it's going back into the pool. It is. The 02 there, that's a circulation of 70 million. Unless we can see anything overtly obvious there, that's going back. There's no listed errors on that. 01, we've got nothing on that either. There's nothing we can really see there. And again, if we look at those queen's heads there, you can see on that 2000, which is only a year before, it does look like the queen's head is a little bit further out, and it looks like the numbers and letters are further out on this one too. So I think that 2000 could be a large queen's head, which is cool, considering I've never seen one on that here. It's quite bizarre. There's a 66 million of the 14s here. We've got no obvious rotation errors, no obvious card errors there. 25 million of the 09s. We've got no rim error, no queen's head stamping error, no card errors in the feathers, nothing there. Circulation of 47 million of the 98s. No rotation we can see there that's overtly obvious. Another 14. We're coming across a lot of 14s, I'll tell you what. It's quite interesting. Nothing we can really see there. And this is another one that has changed. In the last Renix book, it mentioned there was a low circulation, I think, of about 4 or 5 million of those. And now in the new Renix book, it has the updated number, which is 22 million, I think. So I was putting those aside, believing they were scarce, but they're not. They're quite common now. So we've actually had to throw a whole lot of those back into the circulation pool. 43 million of the 89 Lyrebirds. Not seeing anything there in terms of rotation. There's 48 million of those. Nothing with the rim, no cut errors. Back into the pool you go, my friend. 23 million of that bad boy. No rim error or anything we can see there, and no cut error on rotation. No rim error or anything we can see there, and no cut error on rotation. One we ran into earlier with 157 million in circulation. Nothing we can see overtly obvious there. 79 Lyrebird had a circulation of 38 million. There's not a lot going on there. 2021 once again. The one that we saw earlier. We do have a little bit of a rim error on this one. You can see kind of around the outside there, there's a little raised lip on the rim. So that's a little bit of a pressing error, which we'll take a bit more of a look at. See if it's sort of very pronounced or not. A lot of what I have kept aside on 10 cents have been sort of pressing error ones and rims on the outside actually, so it's probably a fairly likely thing. Another 06. Geez, we're running into a lot of 06s. Tell you what. It's 89 million of the 04s. Possibly press slightly off center. Nothing in terms of rotation there. I don't really think it's significant enough to keep that off center. I've already got quite a few off center ones. And the 24 King Charles, thus far we have a circulation of 4 million of those only put into the system, but that number could change when we get the new Renix book next year because they do update those numbers. So we'll see how that goes. For the moment it can go aside. The 08, there's 136 million of them. We've got nothing we can see in terms of the heads side there, nothing there. Only a few to go now. 100 odd million of the 01s. Nothing in terms of rotation blobs. The SD's where it should be. Looks like a bit of gunk or something down the bottom there. It's caused that discoloration. I don't think it's a delamination type error. Right, now 2022. There we go, that's a good one. Circulation of only 4 million. So that's a keeper thus far, which is good. Oh, and we can see another one of these sort of rim errors here on this 03. That's quite noticeable, that one, so I think we'll keep that one because it's fairly noticeable. Again, that's not something that's sort of a listed thing on them. It's just something I've seen myself on quite a few of those around that year. So, and an 03 once more. On the head side, we're looking pretty good. And nothing in terms of the tail side, nothing in terms of rotation. I think that one can go back. All right, so we've got a couple of keepers there. There was a 2022, which had the low mintage of 4 million. We've got a few that we need to do a bit of a check on. We had our 03 there, which had a large rim on it. And our 2000, which we think could be a large queen's head. But we're going to have a bit more of a look into that. Got a 2024, which at the moment is a low circulation number, but we're unsure. We need to double check once the new Renix book comes into circulation. So at the moment, that'll be one of those things we could get a hold of and keep a hold of at the moment. We've got a 2021, which we can see has a sort of an error on the rim, just around there. We've also got a 04. We also have an 04, which is printed pretty noticeably off center. So we can see it's sort of very thick on the outer rim there and a little bit thinner there. So it's quite noticeable on that one. And our final one was a 1966. We needed to go ahead and check on the amount of spikes on the lyrebird there, really up close, because if it is a 4-spike lyrebird, that is one that is a circulation of only 10 million. So that will be a keeper if we do find the 4 spikes there on that 66. All right, well, that is going to be it for us for this week. Next time we get together, we will jump on into a roll of 50-cent coins and see what we can find on there, which is my favorite coin. We'll see you then.